Get things rolling here on a Thursday, and man, we've got a busy day here on the campus of Furman University and beyond. Got CIT basketball tonight in Spartanburg. We've got NCAA tournament getting underway down in Greenville, preparing for a baseball weekend, all sorts of things going on. And apparently the guy sitting here next to me had nothing to do today. He's only the athletic director of the school, and Mike Buddie is our high-tech graphic people. Mike, you can see the fine job they do here to
I love it.
Yeah, to get you ready to go. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I was feeling pretty good until that intro, and now I'm a little stressed out. I forgot that there was some stuff going on. I was just going to sleep in today if you hadn't have invited me on, but no, it's I feel great. We're excited. You assume that you've got all the details handled. There will be something that slipped through the cracks, like there always is, but you just hope it's a small item, not a monumental one.
You were telling me before we went on the air that you and the other folks who have worked so hard to put this on have been kind of sitting around thinking there's got to be something we're missing.
Yeah.
And because things have gone really smoothly so far.
Well, and the NCAA has got this down to such a fine-tuned machine. We joke that, there's a 300-page manual that they send you, but at the end of the day, that's really helpful because they have been through it time and time again. Obviously, it's been 15 years since Greenville has gone through it. So the minutia in that manual, again, can be overwhelming when you first receive it. But the end result is here we are the eve before all of our games. We're about to have a full day of practice, and we feel really, really good about where we are.
And the NCAA people have actually come in and inspected, and everything is good and ready to go, right?
That's correct. So yesterday, Danny Hayner from the NCAA and Janet Cohn, who is on the basketball committee, drove down from Asheville, and they walked through the punch list, and they felt really good. We had dinner last night. We went through there's so many details. The last meeting I had yesterday was with Homeland Security, FBI, and Greenville PD. Just to kind of brief us on any chatter that they're hearing from protests to traffic patterns to all the things that those people deal with on a daily basis that I don't. But it was great for me to hear, and I slept well last night.
So as the tournament gets underway this afternoon, what will be your role?
Today, with no games, I just need to be visible.
Yeah.
So open practice, we are really pushing. Anybody who's listening or watching right now, the first team takes the court today at noon, and there will be teams on there with the exception of a break from 2:55 until 4:25. There will be teams out there doing a 45-minute practice. These kids are great. If you've never been to an open NCAA practice, man, pull your kids out of school. The Tar Heels will finish practice, and Coach Williams, I'll give him credit. He always encourages his kids following practice to just walk around the arena, shake hands with little kids, sign some autographs, pose for pictures. Really cool opportunity to get up close and personal with some really talented young men.
It's interesting as we get to the tournament and some of the practices have already started at other venues. Our Southern Conference representative, East Tennessee State, has been getting a lot of play on social media because of all the dunking they were doing in their warm-up line at their practice. They were showing off their athleticism.
We've seen it up close and personal.
Yes, we have.
They are not short on athleticism. Excited for them to take on the Florida Gators in their home state of Florida, but I wouldn't take ETSU too lightly, as we found out.
Well, no less an expert as Nico Medved told me on Monday that he thinks that they've got a really good shot to win this game in advance. Florida's big man is out for the year, so that's going to be something that works in their favor. And as you say, we know this is a very talented team.
No question. We saw if TJ Cromer gets hot, they can beat anybody. I mean, that kid was making shots, from half court, it seemed like. So they're a well-balanced team. They represent our league extremely well. We're excited for them and hope that the SoCon continues to progress through the postseason, not just Furman, but hopefully a couple others.
As you look back on this entire experience with the NCAA tournament, on the cusp of the games actually being played, and again, I think most everybody knows that Greenville got this thing literally at the very last minute once it was taken away from Greensboro. Could you have imagined things would have gone as well and as smoothly as they've gone to this point?
Yeah, not at all. We joked last night. Beth Paul, who's the general manager of the wellness arena, was at dinner with us last night. As we were walking out, I said, "You remember last May when Jeff Cabe from the SoCon and Robin Wright from Visit Greenville and Beth and I went to the NCAA offices. We sat through the symposium. We asked a ton of questions. We started to put our bid package together to put the bid in for 2019, 20, 21, and 22.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't even really thinking about 2017. And then here we are. We had planted the seed while we were there that, hey, if things don't change in the state of North Carolina, just so you know, we're holding our venue for that date. But we had no idea if that was going to come to fruition.
Right.
We had no idea if they were going to pull the event. And then here we are, and to be there last Sunday and sit there and thinking, well, wouldn't it cool if North Carolina got sent here? And then you sit there and you realize not only North Carolina's coming, but so is Duke and so is Arkansas. And then our friends from down the road in Columbia are coming up. I mean, it was fun to sit there next to the ticket manager and just watch the 900 tickets that remained just disappear in front of our eyes. So, yeah, really thrill. It's great to see Greenville's name on that court. It's great to see the Diamond F. It's really fortunate, I think, that the NCAA's color scheme for this season is purple. Mm-hmm. So part of the court is purple, not because of Furman, just by coincidence. So going to be a lot of eyes on our court in our community with the Diamond F in the upper right-hand corner of the floor.
Have they put a number on the estimate of what they believe the economic impact for Greenville will be?
Yeah, they have, and it's all formulaic. So the Visit Greenville SC group has a formula, and they have estimated between $4 and $5 million of economic boost, which I don't get because Greensboro has claimed that losing this event is costing them $14 million. Mm-hmm. So there's a $10 million difference there that I don't know where that's gone. But I think $4 or $5 million is pretty conservative. I'm guessing when you measure all the glasses of wine and the steaks and the beer that are going to be sold on Main Street, I would think it'd be upwards closer to $10 million for Greenville.
Yeah, 8,000 plus hotel rooms and
that's right,
and everything else that goes along with it. It's fantastic, and like you said, it I would think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I would think this would only enhance Greenville's chances for those 4 years in the future you're talking about.
We hope so. Sitting here today, no question. I mean, the sun's coming out. It's such a walkable, pedestrian-friendly community. I'm hoping that the sun will stay out. But yeah, if we do what we promised that we were going to do and what we feel we're in a really good position to deliver, I've got to think that the NCAA folks are going to get back following the Final Four when they debrief on everything and say, how do we not go back to Greenville? Right. Our geography is perfect for their footprint. We're in the heart of SEC and ACC country. And hopefully we will have just delivered on a phenomenal experience.
I know it's been a ton of hard work for you and the rest of the committee and now the nuts and bolts of it. It's a ton of hard work for people like Hunter Reed. That's because right. Furman is the co-sponsor. Matter of fact, Hunter told me that I think he said come the end of the day, Sunday or Monday, whenever everything ends, there'll be like a gone fishing sign hung on the outside of his door because of all the people he's had to hire and get in shape to manage the game operations of this tournament.
No question. So, yeah, Hunter's a perfect example. He's the media coordinator. So, that manual says, Hunter's focused on his 2 chapters of that manual. And that manual says you need to have 240 seats for media, which is about right. Unless you get Duke and North Carolina and South Carolina in the state of South Carolina. So Hunter's, filing through requests. He ended up having, I'm sure, over 700 or 800 people who wanted to attend. Mm-hmm. He had to pare that back and be the heavy, and then make sure he staffed everything from stat runners to post-game interviewers to queuing lines. And there are a ton of things. And I laugh. When I was at Wake Forest and my boss was the chairman of the committee, I remember having to monitor conferences and do all this legwork and then watch Ron on TV. Well, that's kind of me right now. Like, I'm here talking to you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be on local TV tomorrow morning live talking about details and all the great things that are going on. Well, Alex Loeb on my staff is working his tail off. Ben Matthey, Hunter Reed. I mean, they're the ones who are probably in shorts and a T-shirt right now, sweating, moving, who knows what down at Bon Secours. So they're doing the heavy lifting. I'm sweating it out because if the ice underneath the basketball court starts to melt this afternoon, all eyes are on me. But they're the ones that are really making us look good.
Well, and they do such a fantastic job of running our game day ops here. This is, I probably shouldn't say this in a college-oriented, but it's just game day ops on steroids, basically. I mean, this is a huge undertaking. But it's nice to know that it's in good hands.
It's in great hands, and I'll tell you, the staff, the teamwork between Bon Secours staff and not only our staff but the Southern Conference, it's been a marriage made in heaven because the folks at Bon Secours, they did the Luke Bryan concert last night. They're used to having 14,000 people in their arena. They're just not used to the day in, day out logistics of a tournament or an event, let alone an athletic event. I think having Clemson play their home games here in town last year helped, but Jeff Cabe and his group, knowing the operational, the logistics of back of house flow that occur in the SoCon tournament up in Asheville on a much smaller scale, they kind of know how to filter 4 teams through those back hallways effectively. And so it's been a really good group effort.
That's fantastic. Can't wait for Greenville to be put on display. And as we say, set the stage for what we hope will be a nice 4-year run starting in 2019.
That's
you
right.
said. Knowing that you've got to get out of here at 10:30, let's move on to some other things closer to home here at Furman University. And first of all, you're being named to the NCAA's baseball committee. So congratulations there. Exactly what will that entail other than the obvious when it comes to selecting the teams for the tournament?
That's the brunt of it. Of course, in order to select the teams, you better know what you're talking about. So I don't know the details of my appointment yet. So I'd served 1 year previously, and when I was on it the first time, when I was the associate AD at Wake Forest, I was the Atlantic region rep. And so I was in charge of monitoring the SoCon, the Big South, the MEAC, and the ACC. And so it was my job to be able to speak intelligently on each of those conferences, who was trending up, who was trending down, who's a no-brainer in terms of an at-large, who's probably just going to get the automatic qualification. So very similar to what we hear about talking about the NCAA bracket. But there's a little more behind the scenes. There's a lot of baseball to be seen. The ACC is a difficult conference, much in basketball, and baseball is the same way, to try to figure out, is the 7th team in the ACC better than the 2nd team in the SoCon, and just making sure that we pay attention. But it's really hyper intensive Memorial Day weekend, and we lock ourselves in a room up there, much like basketball. You plug in the AQs, and then there's 25 no-brainers, and it really comes down to those last 7 or 8 spots, and you're trying to justify which of the 3 teams between Oregon, who's got a terrible strength of schedule because there's only 4 schools in the state that they can play. They got to get on a plane to play anybody else. Oregon versus Dallas Baptist versus Kent State. No common opponents, all really good baseball programs, just different challenges, and trying to figure out, is a team who's 13-7 in the MAC, is that better than a team who's 10-10 in the Pac-12? And really, being a baseball guy, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of pressure because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that the kids who most deserve to get that shot to do what Coastal Carolina did last year are getting that shot. And so it's stressful, but it's rewarding, and I'm thrilled to be back on that committee.
You mentioned being a baseball guy with all the duties that you have as an athletic director and everything else that you've got going on here in Greenville. For you, are you looking at that as a way to kind of keep your hand in the game a little bit? I mean, I would imagine you still love the game of baseball.
Still love the game. Hopefully am still knowledgeable enough to represent our conference and our school in a positive way. But yeah, absolutely. It comes naturally to me. I see things at a baseball game that probably the average fan doesn't see. I think the committee probably recognizes that. It's a great group. Ray Tanner's on the, one of the best coaches ever, who's now an AD down the street at South Carolina. So it's a great group. We get to talk a lot of baseball. We get to watch a lot of baseball. I get to go to Omaha, and it's great to have a first-year head coach here on campus who's mega capable, having the 6 months already that Brett's been in charge of our program and watching how he goes about his business, seeing how the kids respond to him. It makes me rest easy, because part of it is, I can't be as hands-on on campus when I'm looking at the national scene. And so I'm hoping the timing's really good, and that 2018, when I roll on, Hark's got his second ball club coming. He's got a recruiting class who he's brought in solely on his own, and I can't wait till they tell me I have to leave the room because they have to discuss Furman's seating. Yeah. So that'll be exciting.
That's fantastic. Furman Athletic Director Mike Buddie is our guest on the show. Elsewhere here on campus, a lot of other things continuing to happen, and maybe I've said this a couple of times. Maybe it's just because I'm in the building, but I've covered D1 college sports for about 20 years now. I've been through coaching changes as a member of the media before. I can't remember a fan base being more excited about a new football coach than Furman's fan base is about Clay Hendrix. This building seems to vibrate with the excitement.
Well, that's encouraging. Clay's the perfect fit. If you'd have told me that he was going to be able to assemble the staff that he's assembled, I would have never believed it. That shows me what a good recruiter he is, or that something's really special going on right now, because to get George Quarles, who's had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to step out of his legendary high school career and take a job at a college level, for him to do it at Furman, obviously it's his alma mater and his buddy Clay is running the show, but the level of expertise there, and to get Drew Cronick back, and then to get some key pieces from Charleston Southern's great defenses that they've had, and Coach Staggs come over. And to me, it's great that our fan base is excited. It's great. I stopped down there this morning before I came up to talk to you, and I mean, they're just getting after it. But what makes me feel the best is the reports that I'm getting from David Abernathy about the way the guys are attacking the weight room, the energy, the enthusiasm. Sometimes, as difficult as change is, I think sometimes for young people, change is a good thing, because if you were a starter, nothing's guaranteed, and they know that. And if you were the third team left guard, right now it's open season. And Clay came in and said, guys, there is no depth chart. So the guys are really getting after it. Competition is a great thing, and I'm hearing great reports about the way that the student athletes are responding to this staff above and beyond the excitement in the fan base.
We had Clint Hill on the show last Thursday, and among the things we talked about with Clint was your what I call the 5-city world tour with Clay Hendrix, and when you went to all the different Furman fans in the different cities with the goal of raising the $1 million. And he said, we're off to a good start, I think $350,000 or so there. From your perspective, though, in each of those stops, what do you think about the turnout, and what do you think about the message?
Turnout was really good. Clint probably mentioned this. One of the things that we did that I actually liked was we build it as a fundraiser.
Yeah.
A lot of times you build, you kind of market these events as, hey, come by and meet the coach. We said, come by and meet the coach and help us raise $1 million, which scares a lot of people off. So the attendance would have been better had we not done that, but the end result, which is what we wanted, was the people who came were invested. The people who came cared about Furman football. They knew they were going to be asked for money, and yet they still came. So the attendance was really good. It was really quality. It's just great to go out and meet people. I thought the content, the message, for me, just sitting back watching my new coach kind of put forth his public persona was really fun. He was very consistent in his messaging. He relates really well to people. For me, one of the things that I enjoyed most was seeing these guys my age who used to play here, who hadn't seen each other. We walk into the event in Atlanta, and there's 6 of them in the corner just talking about what happened in 1987, and half of them hadn't seen each other in so long. So we're definitely bringing that fan base back together. They're united behind, their guy, and, Bruce Fowler was their guy too. And, we were united behind him. But yeah, the new energy, the renewed hope, and, knowing that what they're doing is going to make a difference for Coach Hendrix and our kids, because we all want Paladin football back at the top of the heap.
And as Clint and I discussed, there are several unique challenges which come from being a school this size, because your alumni base, you're not turning out 8,000 to 10,000 graduates every year. You're turning out maybe 800 graduates a year. So you have a smaller pool of people that you have to go to, and so you've got to find a way to reach fewer number of people, but do it in a way in which you can accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Absolutely. We're more quality than we are quantity.
Yeah.
If
I'd have said that would have saved about 2.5 minutes, wouldn't it?
It's, Clay on that tour, he quoted a line from the movie Gladiator, where he just, where they go into the pit and they're releasing lions, and it's 5 guys who had never met each other. And Maximus says, hey, the only way we're going to get through this is if we fight together. And that's kind of his message. His rally cry was, hey, we're Furman. There may only be 5 of us, but if we're all together, it's going to be tough to beat us. And that really resonated with those people. And, it's I'll tell a quick story about the SoCon basketball tournament. Ingles sponsored an opportunity with the SoCon. It was the mascot challenge.
Right.
And we were tweeting it out like crazy, saying, hey, wouldn't it be great if Furman won the mascot challenge? And so I was tweeting it every day. You were tweeting it every day. We were trying to get them, and our fans were responding. So, it was an online vote. Samford and us were going back and forth. And 2 days before the tournament, Mercer emailed it to their entire alumni base, and they, Samford and us were back and forth with like 900, 800, 900, 1,000. Mercer emailed it out to their entire alumni base. They had like 4,000 by lunch that day, and it was over. So we don't have the mass, but what we do have is an education that's unparalleled in the Southern Conference and beyond, the most beautiful campus in the Southeast, if not the country, and a tradition of being a really solid football team. And we can always sell that, and we're going to get back to where we were.
Well, and knowing that in your job, part of the bottom line is the bottom line. The stands that are behind us here, we've got to get people here.
That's right.
4,000 or 5,000 people on a Saturday afternoon just doesn't cut it for an athletic department. We've got to get more people here. And how do you do that? Well, you can get creative with marketing, which we have to do. You can do all these other things. But, man, if you can generate excitement and win football games, that's usually the best way to get people to come.
No question. That's the easiest way to get them here and to keep them here. And I think we've improved the fan experience.
Absolutely.
Tailgating here is as good as it gets. Traffic coming in and out. It's an easy drive and a great way to spend a fall afternoon. But we got to be competitive. We're focusing a lot on our students. People my age, we have more fun when there's students that are rabidly cheering for their fans. So we've obviously made a push not only to get students but to sell more tickets, and Coach Hendrix knows that. And at the end of the day, I think our kids who are putting themselves at risk every play, they could break a leg on any play, get a concussion. They deserve to have 12, 13, 15,000 fans out there cheering for them. And as Coach Medved has shown us, when you have kids who appreciate the fan base and treat people well and play at a high level, good things are going to happen.
Well, that's a great transition to basketball. You talk about the students, because we've seen what's happened at Timmons Arena as the fans have gotten engaged in the last 2 seasons, and that really starts with our student section. And when they get engaged and they're there and they're part of it and they stay for the entire game,
That's right.
which is another thing, it makes all the difference in the world. Now we got to transition that to here.
That's right. And it's a little easier maybe in Timmons because a group of 50 lacrosse players, for example, make a huge difference. And they're noticeable and they're loud, and it echoes, and it gets the other students who are there excited, and it gets us excited. A little tougher to do in an outside environment with a marching band, but football historically, hey, we're in the South. I mean, it's a football part of the country, and I think that our fan base is just kind of sitting there patiently, wanting to be excited again. And one of the things that we said, somebody asked at the Atlanta event, hey, how can we help outside of writing a check for $1 million? And the first thing we said is buy season tickets. buy season tickets, support these kids. If you can't use them, you can email them back to Dwight Covington. He'll find a need, whether it's a young family who would love to come to a game that can't afford it or whatever it might be. But yeah, butts and seats makes a big difference, not only the bottom line, but attitudinally. When we've got recruits at almost every home football game, it makes a difference if they turn around and see a sea of purple versus a little wave of purple and some empty seats. So, getting the people back to Paladin Stadium is paramount.
About 3 minutes left before you have to go, so let's try to get through this quickly. Let's talk quickly about basketball. We got the CIT on the road tonight. A regular season that was approaching, from a Furman standpoint, historic proportions. Had the disappointing end in the Southern Conference tournament, but still this program is taking leaps and bounds forward. And I know you have to feel good that you were able to come to terms with Nico for the new 5-year extension. But I dare say that's still not going to stop people from coming knocking on the door, right?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dan. Yeah, you're right. What a wonderful problem. I mean, if we're hiring the right people, we're going to have to deal with this all the time. And, if we lose Nico or Jackie or anybody, if we lost Coach Meade tomorrow, our program would be in a position where we can attract someone else who's hopefully every bit as good as those coaches, because they've elevated the program.
Right.
So, I slept pretty easy. Having agreed to terms with Coach Medved, it's great to know that he likes it here. It was great to see Erica handle her pregnancy with grace beyond any of our means at the crucial time of the season.
It was awfully nice of her to hold off until we got to the end of the regular season too.
Yeah, I think that was all Allie. Allie's already my MVP, little Allie Medved. But yeah, absolutely. It was a magical season. The regular season couldn't have gone much better than it did. Yeah. Why I love college athletics is you go to a tournament and you think you know what's going to happen, and you just don't. And so I'm excited for the guys to get back out there tonight and get a chance to run a little bit more, to enjoy time with TK Hayes and Chris Haycox, who are our seniors, who deserve to extend their careers as long as possible. Just phenomenal young men. And so can't wait to see them make a run. I feel great. We're the second highest ranked KPI team in the field. It'd be wonderful to bring home a CIT title. I think postseason experience is valuable. We talked about it off the air about having to go on the road, regardless of where it is in the postseason, is a challenge, and it'll be great to see how our kids respond. But a lot of excitement around a lot of our athletic programs right now.
All right, so finally, as we let you go, what are your immediate focuses or challenges that we're facing here on campus?
Well, the football ticket sales obviously is really important. There's some minor facility needs that we hope to address. Baseball, getting new seats there. We just got a new video board, compliments of Craig Brown and his group down at the Greenville Drive. Softball needs a little bit of a facelift. We'd love to address Timmons Arena's lack of a video board. So all those little things, they all cost money, but they're all really, really important, not only for our student athletes and coaches, but for the fan experience too. And so, we're all in right now. We're a great partner, hopefully, to the university itself that's launching the Furman Advantage. That's going to be a huge recruiting asset to our coaches to be able to guarantee every student athlete the ability to have either a one-on-one mentoring opportunity, a paid internship, or the ability to study abroad. I mean, those are extremely attractive to the right type of kids for Furman. And so being a good partner, making sure that we're verbalizing that and living the ideals that the President Davis has set, it's truly, Dan, just a phenomenal time to be a Paladin.
It's been great to have the seat that I have, whether it's courtside or press box side, to watch everything that's going on. It's also nice, and I appreciate from time to time you being willing to come on and kind of catch us up on what's going on and things that we don't see behind the scenes. Thank you for the time today.
Anytime, big guy. Appreciate it.
That is Mike Buddie. Stay tuned. We'll be back to continue with the show right after this. Do not go away. Dan Scott here to tell you that I have found my breakfast place in the Travelers Rest area, the Hungry Drover. Located at the intersection of Tigerville Road and Highway 290, the Hungry Drover features local eggs, raw milk, homemade breads, and of course their famous gigantic omelets. If it's lunch you crave, check out the barbecue, tomato pie, and the made-from-scratch desserts. And don't forget dinner on Friday nights. Find the full menu and operating hours at hungrydrover.com and like them on Facebook. For catering, call John at 864-901-5040 and enjoy the farm fresh eating experience in the heart of